Question. Would you hire a person with jail sentence on his resume? Some of you might. Most organizations, I think, they don't. Not at Greystone Bakery. At Greystone Bakery, it's their mission to hire the unemployable. They bake brownies to hire people. They have a policy called open hiring. It basically works like this. Once they have a job opening, the first one who shows up gets the job. No further questions asked. Does it work, you think? Well, it works brilliantly for them. Well, mind you, if you have like a criminal background, you have no way to go. But at Greystone, you can. So it's their last perspective that they have. And even commercially, it's also a success. Like Ben & Jerry's, they were so touched by this story that they decided to bake all their brownies by Greystone Bakery from that moment on. Well, Ben & Jerry's, you all know them, so next time you buy an ice cream, I hope you extra enjoy it by hearing this story. And how did it all start? It started in 1982 with Bernie Glassman. He worked as an aeronautical engineer, and one of his good friends and co-worker there, he got fired. And he ended up on the streets, homeless. And what did Bernie do? He didn't give him shelter, or he didn't give him food. He did something else. He took all his possessions, his phone, his money, he put it away, and he went to his friend and lived with him on the streets. As equals, also homeless. And there he discovered something. He discovered that being homeless is really difficult to do. You're hungry, you're tired, bored, it's cold. It's really difficult to be homeless. And there he got this insight. If you can be homeless, sure you can keep a job. And at that moment, he decided to set up a bakery and, well, to hire the unemployable. I think Bernie was way ahead of his time. Sometimes they say the future already happened in the past. I think this is an example of what is to come. Do you know the connection between these two objects? Yeah. Yes. Very good. It's like air. And no, well, I still remember it. It means I'm like an early millennial. I'm born in 1997. So I actually know how it was before the internet. And then the internet came. And it really changed my way. Like before that, YouTube, Google, nothing was there. And now it is. So if I want to learn something, want to fix something, I go to YouTube, how to it. If I want to understand something, I go Google it. If I want to communicate, I use WhatsApp with my friends. The internet is all around in my life. And if you think about it, what it does, well, it connects me to all the information in the world, it connects me to all kinds of people in the world, it connects me to all kinds of possibilities in the world, so it really gives me a lot of power, you would say. And with great power, they say, comes great responsibility. I think a lot of millennials, they feel that. We are motivated to change the world, and we have the tools now to do something about it. And that's my talk. Show you a lot of examples of young people that inspire me as an entrepreneur, well, to go for that extra thing, to really change the way we think about business as Bernie Glassman did. He wasn't in there for profit, he was in there for profit and impact, and he proved us that it is possible. Some examples. Sprout Pencil. 3 students from MIT, they took on a challenge to design the sustainable office article of tomorrow. And what was their invention? Well, wouldn't it be cool if you have like a pencil that once, well, you've used it, you can put it in some ground, and then this nice plant appears. That's what they've done, called Sprout Pencil. Well, this pencil, it's made of sustainable wood, it's non-toxic, all the materials are sourced locally, and now I've looked up the numbers, they sell 450,000 of these pencils per month. So it's a huge success. What they want to do, they want to show the world what sustainability looks like. Another example, Snapcar. maybe heard of it or not. Their mission is to have 1% less cars here in Europe. By having 1% less cars in Europe, they say, well, then demand goes down. If demand goes down, the production of cars goes down, which is good for environment. The founders of Snapcar, they are in there to create impact, they say. And I see here a typical millennial solution. What is that? It's like an Airbnb for cars. So you can share your car. And we know there's like this big trend going on. More and more people, they're not in there for more ownership, they just want to use stuff. And this is a service that provides that to them. Or have you ever seen like this really strange looking cucumber in the supermarket? I haven't. It's like 10% of the food we throw away just because of the way it looks. 2 students, Lisanne and Chantal, they researched it for a study project. And they thought, why is no one solving this? Why is it this way? Can't we come up with something else? And they did. They thought, can't we make soup of ugly vegetable? Very simple idea, soup of ugly vegetable. And they started kromkommer, it's called. And now they are sold in like 180 stores all over the country. Or sepia, again, 2 students, Melvin and Jesper, 21 years old. They were on YouTube, surfing, and then suddenly they found like this documentary of the washing traditions of Nepalese women. Crazy, eh? This YouTube. But okay, and what they saw there, how do these women wash? They don't use our detergent that we have, full of that is toxic. No, they use nuts of the sapindus tree. So with water and nuts from the sapindus tree, you could wash your clothes. And they thought, why don't we have that here? And they went on Google again. And they searched for sapindus tree farmers. And then they got in contact with Hari, a Nepalese farmer. And they said, could we buy some of your sapindus nuts? And they sourced some others as well, and they choose Hari because he had like really good vision on his working conditions as well for his employees. So they decided, okay, I'm going to ask some little money from my friends and family, and I can buy, well, this sapindus nuts. And that's how they started Sepia. And at first they started selling it online, and now you can buy it all over the country again. So what do all these stories connects all these stories? Well, when I look at this, I see young people, they encounter a certain problem, they do a lot of research, mostly online. They think, why is it this way? Can't we come up with something else? And they do something, is they choose business as a way to solve the problem. I think there's the key, like business as a way to solve the problem. And they all start online. So they don't write big business plans, they just start online and then they see where it goes. How many percent of you do you think how many percent of the startups are socially driven? In the UK, it's like 20%. Of how many percent of the millennials find their duty to make a difference to their lifestyle? Also a big percentage. And how many of them actively research the behavior and the policies of the big brands they buy? Or how many percent do you think of the millennials would even choose purposeful work even over a higher salary? So there is something going on, I think, here. And I look at the economies like 4 economies. So it all started as hunters and gatherers. And then we moved into this agrarian economy. And there we learned how to use the land and how to keep animals, and we started villages. And the agrarian economy, it lasts thousands of years. And then we entered the industrial economy. And we created factories. Our cities became villages. And the products to be produced were cheaper, people got richer, and consumerism was born. And we are still also in the industrial economy. Think of made in China. But out of the industrial economy came the information economy. Radio was invented, television was invented, and the internet was born. And we're still in there. Like companies like Google, Facebook, Apple, YouTube, you name it, none of these companies existed in the industrial economy. They are like this product of this information economy we are in right now. And I think as the information economy came out of the industrial economy, I think now we are moving into a different economy, which I call the purpose economy. And the purpose economy came out of the information economy. And what it does, it's just like, well, companies, they're not there only to make profit, they're there to make profit and impact. And that's, I think, changing the way we think about business. And I think millennials, they are a big driving force of this trend. Some more examples. We all know this one, right? Teun van der Keuken did a documentary, discovered, wow, child slavery still exists. How is that possible? Then he turned himself in as a chocolate criminal. The judge declared it admissible, but he didn't stop there. No, he wanted to solve that problem. He was so touched by, we have to do something. So he decided to set up Tony's Chocolonely, with a mission to provide a 100% slave-free chocolate bar. And did they succeed? No, they didn't. Not yet. Did they make great progress? Yeah, they made. And are they committed to continue? Yeah, they're also committed to continue. Or Tom's. Do you know this brand? Tom's Shoes. Founded by Blake Makowski. He was in Argentina, backpacking, and there he saw all these Argentinian kids without wearing shoes. And he thought about this problem, like, okay, what can I do about this? I want to do something. And then he thought, well, I can just ask my friends, family, to send some shoes of them over here, so I could provide these kids with their shoes. Problem solved, right? But he thought, no, problem not solved. I help them now, but the problem is much, much bigger. I need to come up with a different solution. And there he invented, like, Tom's Shoes. And why is Tom's Shoes different? Well, if you go to the supermarket, it's always like buy one, get two. Here's like buy one, give one. So you buy a pair of shoes, and with your purchase, you give away a pair of shoes. Until date, 60 million children has been helped in this way. And this buy one, give one model, you see it now in glasses, toothbrushes, earphones. You see it everywhere. In Canada, there's even a company that is doing this with houses. So you build your perfect house there, and by doing that, they also provide a house for a family living in the slums. If you only think in like this business mindset of creating profit, this doesn't make sense to do that. But if you think in, but the new way is profit combining with impact, it makes perfectly sense to do it in this way. Talk about plastic. It's one of our biggest problems. All of the plastic that is ever invented, it's still here. And we have no idea how long it will be here. We have no idea. And we keep producing more. And actually, we need to stop that. We need to stop producing new plastic, and we need to use what is out there already. But how do we collect all this plastic that is out there? That's a big problem. And the plastic bank, they thought about this problem. And they thought, but what if we change it around? If I walk in the streets and I see plastic, for me it's like waste. But what if plastic is not waste, but what if it's money? What if you could make like a currency of plastic? That would change things. That's what they do. They created like, this plastic recycling marketplace. And what they do? Well, if you collect plastic, you could hand it over, and they charge you for it. So you could have like a decent income by collecting plastic. This plastic is then recycled, they brand it, social plastic, and they sell it back to the manufacturers. So they have this whole economy going on of creating value through recycling plastic. And then I got thinking, like, okay, Facebook, Apple, these are the products of the information economy. Maybe this is like the new Facebook, what to come. And Plastic Bank, they're solving this plastic issue for us on our land. And what do you think of the oceans? Boyan Slat. He was scuba diving in Greece. And there he saw, wow, there's more plastic here than fish. Why is that? And then for a school project, he researched it. And he thought, this is really a big problem. And all the scientists, they say, this can't be solved. And he didn't stop there. He said, not sure if that's right. Let's come up with a solution. And what he did, something brilliant. Why go after the plastic if you can just wait until the plastic comes to you? That was this brilliant perspective of his. So what he did, he built like a giant plastic trap. And he's using the current of the sea to collect all this plastic. And in June 22nd, his first prototype was launched here in the North Sea, and I believe with great success. So now finally, like the biggest cleanup in history has started. Boy and slut, 16 years. So this purpose economy, I believe there's like this upward trend movement in the purpose economy. Let's take an example of coffee. First, you have like normal coffee. And then, because we're all much more conscious and information is open and transparent, we learn, but those trade deals, they are not so fair. So we create like fair trade. It's like we have to be fair in the trades that we make. So we like fair trade. It's like we added ethical quality to the product of normal coffee. And now all the ones who are selling normal coffee, they are, well, considering of becoming fair trade as well. Because as a consumer in the supermarket, if we have the choice, we think, let's do this. Because remember, 84%, they think it's their duty to make a difference through their lifestyle. And that starts with simple purchasing behaviors as well. But then, don't stop at fair trade. You could also look at fair chain. That's what Moe Coffee is doing. Because they discovered that 99% of all the coffee that we produce it still here or locally. So we use the coffee from Ethiopia and then here we produce it. But can't we do something there? Can't we produce it there? Can't we split it half-half? And that means fair change. And what it does is that we stimulate the local economy in Ethiopia, that we provide jobs in Ethiopia. And now suddenly fair trade is not the highest point anymore. Now it's like entry barrier. Now it is fair chain. And by adding ethical quality, that's what they're doing, they are uplifting the whole market. And you can never go back. So imagine your fair trade. You can't say, well, I don't believe in fair deals anymore. Let's go back to normal coffee. It will kill your brand. Or for fair chain as well. No, we don't believe in supporting local economy and jobs anymore. Let's go back to fair trade. So you can never go back. There's only one way forward. And there's always a new problem to solve. And I believe in this purpose economy that I'm talking about, that social and environmental issues, they are the biggest market opportunities of tomorrow. This is where we should invest in as entrepreneurs. There's always this next step to do. Maslow. We all know this one, right? The story goes that by the end of his life, he thought, I had it all wrong all this time. You know what? You should turn it upside down. Think about it, turning it upside down. Makes great sense to me. So imagine how the world would have looked like. One last example. 2 weeks ago, I read an article about Unilever and how are they making great progress in this purpose economy. And there was this story about one of their brands called PGT. And at PGT, they thought like, what can we change? And there was one clever guy, and he thought, why is this the way it is? This end seal of the tea bag. Can't we make it like 3 millimeters shorter? And that's what they did. And by making it 3 millimeters shorter, in 2015, they saved 9.3 tons of paper. Very small thing. So with 3 millimeters, you can already make a difference. So it comes down to this, I think. You're either part of the solution or part of the problem. We all have a choice here, and if you want to be part of the solution, let's start thinking about your 3 millimeter action. Thank you.